Good evening. I hope all of you are staying warm. I just wanted to talk with you briefly about technology, right? Because that's where we are. We are in the age of technology. This is the technology era. And it's important, or technology age, right? And it's important. I just wanted to talk about those things in reference to our learning, right? In reference to as technology continues to change, adapt, and become fluid, we must remain the same. We must do the same thing. And when organizations are not able to do that, or educational institutions or ourselves are not able to do that, we get left behind. And that's where you have those haves, right? And those have nots, right? So it's important that we remain actually engaged in what's going on now, and that entails understanding what are the things that we must do in order to remain at that skill forefront, right? So as technology continues to changes and as we try to meet the demands of the workforce, we must make sure we do our parts in that process. So when I think about when I was working in workforce development and at an agency, and some of the people that came through my program, because I provided educational learning training, workforce development as a consultant, and as they pursued their career interests and wanted to enter into post-secondary higher education, it often, a lot of times, the careers or education discipline they wanted to actually go to, connect to, and enroll in, they were pretty much more towards that service area, right? And not saying anything's wrong with service area, liberal arts, psychology, education. Hey, I'm in education, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. Um, but because of technology constantly changing, and as our schools, our high schools, our elementary schools are immersed within the STEM program of that science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, we have to do the same thing. We have to be able to remain just as relevant within that school paradigm, right? So when you're tackling those disciplines, it's important to look at what is going to be relevant in the future, right? Especially with where we are now. So um, I am one for education. I am one for lifelong learning. So, although I have my doctorate in education, I'm constantly reinventing myself, having to do that, having to put my foot in the water, my finger in the water, and saying, okay, what is going on in technology? So then that way I can be right there and understanding. So, and the reality is that I have like 41 different certificates that I have done since 2017. And my sister's like, man, that's a lot of certificates. But in order for me to know what's going on, whether I'm doing training or whether I'm doing implementation of human resource information systems or robotic process automation or robotic desktop automation or CRMs, whatever digital educational digital learning solution technologies platforms, I still have to know what's going on out here. And that's what's going on. And especially when you're dealing with employee experiences, when you're dealing with organizations that are not moving forward. And it's the same thing with educational institutions. There's plenty of articles out there to read about what degrees are not having as much value as they did before, and definitely looking at, and there's an article called Rethinking Education in the Schools, right, within the technology age and how it's affecting the schools. And although this is geared towards K through 12, we have to think the way same thing when we going into higher education. But not only that, even with our children, when our children are about to pursue higher education, we need to make sure that they are going to follow a pathway where it can be very relevant to what's going on now, because years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, technology is going to be so advanced. We're already talking about cognitive technologies and neural networks and deep learning, right? And all of those things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, which is, we're going back into the 50s. However, When you get into cognitive technologies and you get into deep learning, you get into those neural networks, these are things that are happening, whether it's through robotic process automation or explainable artificial intelligence. These are the things that are that's at our forefront, that's at our fingertips. So that's all I wanted to share. So make sure as you continue your learning journey, because it never stops, make sure that you are taking time to learn out what is going on in technology, what is going on in engineering, what is going on in mathematics as well as sciences, in order to keep your skill sets up to date for these 21st century jobs. Thank you. Have a good evening.